afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to your program. Um, Thank you very much, Toya Fumi. I actually am finding it very difficult to hear you, but if I can pick from the question you have asked us to look at the leadership style or the comparison between the leadership of Obasanjo and the current one, um, what has happened in between, and probably where we got it wrong or what are differences that you can see. Well, if I may take it from that place, I think as a socio-economist, a policy analyst myself, uh, we believe that policy making and economic decisions are situational and are transitional. That's then defines the continuity in terms of development, whether in the area of agriculture, infrastructural um, development, and other sectors of developments that we have. Now, we trade on figures. If you look at what Nigeria economy is doing in terms of the GDP and per capita income in 2000, in 1919, when former General Obasanjo was president of Nigeria, down to 2022, while we have the current president, former General Buhari, you would see that yes, economy have taken several shapes and several developments. Now, how have we fared in terms of number? In 1999, in terms of GDP, Nigeria is doing about $59 billion in GDP. As of today, we are doing okay. Let's stop at 2021 economic development plan that we have. That's the continuity that I'm speaking about. We have about $440 billion. It is obvious that there are been developments, whether or not you want to argue that this current administration has not done anything or has fallen short in terms of development. But the figures have shown that yes, there have been tremendous developments. The Nigeria economy, in terms of the GDP, remains the best in Africa. Very, very competitive around the world. I don't know the numbers as of today, but we remain the first in Africa when you look at what we do in terms of GDP. Our GDP growth have moved year on year from 486 billion in 2015, when Buhari came into board, to 440. If you look at it very well, the decline that you have seen is as a result of so many other things that have happened. In terms of what to do per capita income, the capita income in 1999 was $498. Today, or in 2021, if you compare them year on year, per capita income is $2,085. So there have been tremendous growth in terms of GDP, but that has not translated to development in terms of the per capita income. So Nigeria has lost it. If you also if you compare us with the countries that got independence at the same time, talking about Malaysia, talking about Venezuela, talking about all other countries that got independent with us at the same time, talking about Vietnam, the economic difference in terms of comparison is not to write home about. That means Nigeria has not fared fine in our recent democracy. We have fared very, very low. We have underperformed, and that's informed why we are seeing what we are seeing now. Now, you spoke very, very importantly on what the figures are when you compare us in terms of what we roll out compared to this country. I can assure you that in every sector of economic development today, social development or infrastructural development, Nigeria has lagged behind, despite heavy borrowing, despite domestic borrowing, foreign borrowing, despite grants here and there. Nigeria has not actually fared if you compare us to our mates who got independence the same time as Nigeria. Oh, it's so pathetic. The network is really messing everything up. I find it very difficult to hear you, very very difficult. But I think I picked one or two things from the question you asked, and I can assure you I'm still struggling to understand or to hear everything you were saying. But then you asked me what can be done to ensure that the leadership issues that we have in Nigeria is resolved. Probably that's just a summary of what you just asked. If I'm correct, please nod.
Yes, you are very right. That is what I'm trying to ask because
Okay.
a lot
That's
of
being said.
statistics.
Thank you for that very good question. Nigeria, we cannot discuss the solutions to Nigeria leadership problem without having to examine the problems of leadership in Nigeria. You have mentioned the issues of security. You have mentioned the issue of corruption. You have mentioned the issue of economic and political instability, ethnic divide, civil unrest, poverty, nepotism, non-visionary, self-centeredness, a whole lot of other issues that Nigeria have. But I mean, in order for us to also express the solutions to all these problems, we have to see what we need to do based on the emergency of issues, which one is more important in terms of priority over the other. If you ask me in that order, I would choose security first. The current problem Nigeria have right now in this country is the problem of insecurity. That is chief amongst other problems that we face as a country today. And the problem of ethnic divide, civil unrest, kidnap here and there, terrorism is what cumulated into the issues of security that we have in Nigeria today. So that also defines what leadership should mean or what leadership connotes. A good leader is that does not just solve problems, but can guess problem before the problem comes up. There are so many parameters to use in order to check or predict that this certain issue that is cropping can also be very problematic to the economy, that to the national security or to the economy or to the generality of developments in Nigeria. So, but because our leaders, they are corrupt, very, very corrupt leaders, and they are selfish, they are non-sacrificial. They don't want to sacrifice anything, they don't even have vision. They are non-visionary. They trend on nepotism and social media advantage. So that has been a major issue for us. Instead of them to be proactive on issues that can lead to curbing security threats, issues of intelligence, issues of policies, they look at what is in need for them. Those are the gains that they tend to achieve in it. That is the security area. Let's talk about the economy. Nigeria consumer index year on year, 2020 year end, 2021 year end, 2022 year to date. 2021 year end was about roughly 12.49%. Even with COVID and other things, it rose to about just between 14 to 15%. Today, as I speak with you, Nigeria inflation rate is 18.65%. Now, let us talk about Nigeria only. Let us compare ourselves with other African countries that are doing fine before and post-COVID. Because they will tell you it's COVID. Ghana, for instance, was about, give or take, between 13 to 14%. Although every country has had their fair share, of economic downturn, and it is expected, given the fallout of COVID and the impact on the economy, consumer spending, saving culture, investment platform, all those things will accumulate into it. But then, how have we been able to manage the issue of inflation just so it doesn't escalate? What is the price of goods? These are the things that Nigerians want to hear. But today, we just hear that they are able to reduce the backlog of 18.65% of inflation Saturday to about, say, 18.3. That's about 0.3 difference. It's a lot, I agree. But then, what impact does this have on the consumer? And when I say consumer, I mean people on the street who does the buying and selling. What's the price of Gary now compared to last year? What is the price of commodities generally? Pick anyone you want and do your own research. So our GDP is growing, per capita income is coming down. And you want to ask yourself why? And this is just only because some minute few, infinitesimal few, people who are elites, political elites, economic elites, have devised means to ensure that Nigeria remain an acquiring state more than a production state. If you don't produce, you don't get FX. Our FX is foreign exchange, foreign currency. It is from what you sell out as exports that you get foreign currency from. So what does Nigeria produce? Nigeria economy is dependent on oil. And you mentioned very correctly that Nigeria economy is dependent on oil. But let me surprise you. The figures you quoted, if you go and check assets, month to end June, July, month on month, June, July, and year to date, Nigeria economy is 90% dependent on oil. And when I mean oil, I mean the gasoline, I mean the PMS, and I mean, the all forms of oil. 90% of our total GDP or total earnings, that's locally generated revenue, is from oil. Only about 0.51% is on agriculture. And we are saying that we have diversified the economy and are doing fine on agriculture. After how many years? And we are still dependent on oil. So don't let us just, we can play around with figures and all that. From today to tomorrow, the fact still remains that the telecommunication still roving around 0.46%. Real estate is still below 1%. Every other sector are sharing the remaining 10%. So we are still 90% dependent on oil. And if we cannot export our oil to get FX, inflation rates will continue to go up. So that's just the gimmicks behind this thing. I know as we speak, I want people to fact check us. This is the essence of this program. Let people fact check us. We are not just going to be speaking on Facebook or on Twitter without having to be able to explain this thing live to people. Our economy is still doing 90% on oil. Then how are we diversifying agriculture? And we have spent not less than 2 trillion on agriculture and actual expansion and development policies around that area within the last 4 years. CBN Anchor Borrowers Program, BO High Development Program, so many interventionist programs. Our borrowings have also gone high. So you want to put all these indices together. If we are making 6.4 trillion as a country, as our internally generated revenue in a year, all right, $6.4 trillion. How much do we spend on development programs? How much do we spend on infrastructural programs? How much do we spend on production, education, security, and all those things? So how much do we do as renters? We have loans everywhere. Nigeria is indebted to China right now through Sukuk and every other available interventionist loans that we have taken. we have AFDB loans, we have World Bank loans. In fact, Nigeria is one of the biggest African countries that have taken loans from the Chinese people. Just only recently that we do a little bit of reshake or restructure of our loan. And that's the reason why we are still able to pay some rights today. So these are the econometrics of how Nigerian money are being spent. So it is beyond social media, it is beyond rhetorics. What we need to do are 4 things, if you ask me, and this is very important. The first thing we need to do is to boost our production level. We have to stop importing toothpicks. We have to stop importing foods in the can. We have to stop importing shoes. Nigerians today will not buy. Let me be specific. People from Igbo State will not buy from that Igbo trader that's producing in that state. But people from Imo State will prefer to buy Fendi. They will buy Gucci. They will buy Abercrombie and Fitch. They won't buy all those things that we produce in Nigeria. These are the things that is taking efforts away from us. So we have to be productive and we have to focus on production. We have to ensure that what we produce is what we need. That's number 2. If you are saying we are diversifying the economy and some people still buy pasta from abroad, how do we develop this economy? Excuse me. We can't develop this economy like that. So what else do we need to do? We have to properly diversify the economy. And see, to the federal government's credit, they have done fine in terms of diversification. But we have a people problem in Nigeria. Because if we talk about leadership, let's talk about people that are following also. Government have good policies that can give or put monies in the hand of consumer, spending or boosting consumer capacity to be able to spend. But if the money does not get to where it's supposed to get to, people are not getting fertilizer to produce, they are not getting farm implements for production of agricultural inputs, it becomes a difficult. In fact, people that even got federal government loan cannot pay back. So it's a people problem, it's a people management issue. And Nigeria, someone told me that we take God's intervention to solve Nigerian problems. And I've told that person that God has been so good to Nigeria. We have both natural and human resources that we can use to grow this country. But how well are we managing these things? Management issues that we have. Apart from politics and policies and other political or social issues, management issues are issues that we have in terms of development. So I will allow you to take a question. Visionary. We need leaders who are not selfish, who are not leaders who actually understand the problem that Nigeria is facing right now. We need leaders who are not corrupt. We need leaders who understand the political fragility of Nigeria. We need leaders who understand economics. We need leaders who knows the history of Nigeria. We need leader who is focused. We need leader who can eradicate poverty. Now, to broaden this a little, Nigerians have this perception about leaders. They feel the person who is leading them is the problem, but that's not the case. I have argued several in the past that we need good system, we need good institutions more than we need good leaders. And if you look at what happened during the American election, after Biden has been favored to have won that election, I mean, this is there in the media, you can check it, that Trump made several calls to try and overturn that election in his favor. But because the system works, because they have the institutions that work, that didn't happen. Whether or not Trump accepted the results, he must concede. he did considered, and Biden is president today. Now, if we build our system, if we build our institutions, I can assure you our leaders will be forced to act. Apart from a leader who is visionary, a leader who is not self-centered, a leader who is sacrificial, a leader who understands the problem, who understands the fragility of the ethnic and religious problems that we have in Nigeria, we need strong institutions. So outside leadership and followership, I believe that building the strong institutions and the strong system would help us get it right in this country, right? Outside that, you ask for the policy actions that can be taken. Nigeria is a federalist economy, a federalist state, but as we see today, we seem to be practicing unitary impracticability of it, while in theory, we are practicing federalism. We need a leader who can decentralize power that is so much concentrated in the center now to the federating units. Today, local governments don't no longer, understand what governance is in Nigeria. We need really people who understand what restructuring and federalism is in order for us to be able to have a well-structured Nigeria. Powers that settles in the middle or at the center is so much. The federating units, the regions need to be able to control both their natural and human resources. They are supposed to be able to give back to the center. The center now is shared among the federating units. So these are the things that we need to do in terms of policy for us to get it right in this country.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Yinka.